YouTube, man, I put a poll on the channel. Y'all folks said y'all want to see a Memphis type beat cook up, so I'm finna show y'all how to cook up one for Key Glock, somebody like that, man. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, if you learn something, your head get the bobbing, drop me a like, man, and subscribe for me. See you. Alright, man, y'all boys know where we at with it. We in FL. We got the BPM at 130. And let's see, I started out with this loop from Splice with these strings. Crazy, real orchestral, you know? That's too hard. So yeah, I pitched that up 100 cents, man, and then from there we got into that thing. All right, so the first VST we got here is Keyscape, and we are using the cinematic LA Custom C7 cinematic preset. I'm gonna go ahead and play this so y'all can hear what it sounds like, and then I'll break it down. All right, so what I started out with was these root notes down here. So if I just mute these, I simply start out with this little melody here. We're just on the root note of the melody, nothing too crazy there. We're in D sharp minor, so I'm just hitting D sharp minor. Now in the second half though, going into the second half, I knew that I wanted to add these lower octave notes here to give it a little bit more feeling once it, you know what I'm saying, gets into the second half of the loop there. So what I originally had was something more like this. I had these half steps down here that I was playing off of, but because I wanted it to flow better into this second half where we have these lower notes, if I take these notes here and pull them down one more octave with control and down on the arrow keys, it's gonna transition into this a little bit better just because these notes are closer together. So like I said, we added these lower notes just for a little bit more emphasis on the second half. Now as far as the top melody here, again, we're just on the half steps, those notes that are right next to each other to give it that dark sound. And we're just pretty much bouncing back and forth between this F and any of these other half steps. So I start out in F sharp, F, then we went to the A sharp, F, B, F, A sharp, F. So all we're doing with that is just literally bouncing off of that F. So I'll let y'all hear that one more time. Nothing too crazy there, but it sounds real good. Now what I also did was with this top melody, I went and I pressed Alt R, and that pulls up the randomizer so that you can randomize the velocity so that it doesn't sound so robotic, like the same notes hitting the exact same velocity. So boom, after that, what we did was I threw a Valhalla vintage verb on there, turned down the mix a little, turned down the decay, turn up the low cut to take out some of the low end of the reverb. Real simple. We'll put a little bit of fruity delay on there just to kind of like give it a little bit more texture. This halftime I'll get into a little bit later. We're not using it exactly just yet, this part of the beat. And we put a EQ on there to cut out some of the lows. All right, for something like the switch up when it goes into the verse of the beat, this is where I was using the halftime on that piano melody. So what I did with this one was, as you can see, it's essentially the same exact pattern still. The main difference here is I took the last notes of the bar and I just pitched them up an octave. The reason I did that was because with the halftime, and I'll show you here, we have the halftime set to 1 bar. And what I did was I turned the mix down to 75% here because I didn't want it to completely halftime the whole melody. And I'll show you what that'll sound like if I did that. Let's copy this And we'll turn that back up, and that's what it'll sound like. So you see, when it gets to this end here, it's a little bit too muddy for my liking. I could EQ that as well, don't get me wrong, but what I decided to do instead was turn the halftime mix down to 75%. That way these top notes also have a little bit more of the original sound to them as well. So this is what it'll sound like with the halftime at 75%. So you see, we still have that original melody in there a little bit, but it still has that halftime going through it as well. So that was the sound I was going for more so with that one. All right, and we also have this little keys melody I just kind of played on my keyboard here, just to kind of go into just to transition for certain parts in the beat. So this is what that sounds like. Nothing too crazy there. We're only releasing that on the kind of like a transition coming out of the strings. So alright, so after we did the piano melody, the next thing we went to was some strings. I feel like strings are a great sound for these type of beats, man. They just sound amazing. So we already had the original string loop that we got from Splice, but I wanted to add my own as well. So I went to Expand 2 here, and we have the Pizzicato Hall preset. I believe that's what it's called. Yeah, Pizzicato Hall. And all we did with this was essentially we just took that same melody that we got from the pianos, that top line, bouncing off of these Fs and just hitting these half steps. And then on the second half, we just took it up one octave, control, and up on the arrow key. So this is what that sounds like. Simple, man. So a lot of time when you're making beats, you don't have to make a brand new melody for each sound that you want to use. A lot of times you can just layer sounds and that'll fill out your beat and not have too much going on so that the artist can still get on there and do their thing. So that's all we did there, man. Now what I could have also done as well is, let's say I want to take these and make this string sound a little bit more full. If we highlight everything and hold shift and click on the notes, that'll duplicate it, and then we could just press control and down the arrow keys, and that'll bring that down an octave, and that fills it up a little bit more too. But for this, I just want a thinner kind of sound on top of that. All right, next we got another string sound. This one is the agitato strings, agitato violins from SRX Orchestra. This is very, very similar to the same melody as the other strings and the piano melody. This one's a little bit different. I kind of spaced out the notes a little bit more. So we're doing the same thing though. We're going from the root note to a half step, root note, and we came up a little bit higher here. And we're just bouncing basically between those. So this is what that sounds like. So in your head, you might be saying, why does that shit sound like that? So what I did on this one was I had a Valhalla vintage verb, same settings as the piano, but I threw an Effectrix on there. And Effectrix, what this is basically like a effect plugin. It has a lot of different things in here. You can loop melodies, add like a scratch loop. You can reverse, which is what we did here. Stretch, all type of things. So I added this reverse thing here. So as we play it, every time it hits this little orange section, it's going to reverse that note. And I just thought it gave it a cool, unique kind of bounce. All right, and one of the last sounds we have in this melody here is this kind of like a pad sound. And we got this out of Expand. It is the Spooky preset. All we're doing here, I basically took the root note and I started to build out a chord. but I didn't want it to sound too full with the full chord here. So I got rid of the top note and I just left these two here. And then on the second half, I brought that second note down a semitone here. It's gonna make it sound a lot darker. And I just kind of brought it up and just played off the half steps again here at the end. So this is what that sounds like. So I just kind of wanted that to fill up that space in the background there. All we have on there is an EQ, and we're just cutting out really mostly all of the sound there. I didn't need too much going on. I just kind of wanted something to fill that background up. All right, all together, this is what our melody is sounding like. Yeah, it's hard. Real simple. That halftime with that pad, that just give it a little different feel right there. Alright, so let's get into these drums, dog. So first, we got this sub bass here. I'll let y'all hear what that sounds like. Real simple, man. So we're just following the root note, taking the same little trick we used on the piano melody, and we're playing with these half steps down low, coming back to the root note. And then what we did here, we added a slide. If you want to add a slide, there's a couple ways to do this. First, you can take a note and pull it to wherever you want that note to be at. Double click the note, and there's going to be a little box that pops up with this little triangle symbol. It'll look just like this little triangle in the corner up here. You click that little triangle, click accept, and that creates a slide for you. The other way that you can do this same thing is if you click this little triangle up here first, when you place a note, it'll be a slide. The only thing with that is it's going to keep doing that for every note you place unless you unclick it. So just make sure you remember to unclick that little triangle up there. For the hi-hat, nothing crazy. We just got a simple two-step pattern going here. Real simple, real easy. Snare, you already know we're on that 3 and a 7. A little bounce right here, real easy. Nothing too crazy there. And we got one more snare that we used to add some snare rolls. With these Memphis type beats, you gotta make sure you got a snare roll in there somewhere, man. It don't gotta be nothing too extravagant, but you gotta have it in there somewhere. So this is what that sounds like. Nothing too crazy, real simple. Easy peasy, man. All right, boom. So after that, we added in the 808 and this hi-hat. And I'm sorry, not hi-hat, the open hat. And we got a crash in there as well. So I'm gonna actually let this play with the melody so y'all can kind of hear how that's bouncing together. So here's the 808 pattern. Kick on top of it. Just following the same notes as the 808. Come on, man. All right, man. So yeah, that's the beat right there. So we're gonna listen to this thing through one more time. So hard. That sub is crazy. Man, that's how you make a simple but hard beat for artists out of Memphis, man. We had the pianos in there, the strings going crazy, you know, the drums gonna slap, and that sub, woo! But yeah, man, that's the recipe right there, y'all. So yeah, if you made it this far to the video, man, let me know in the comments down below. I'll shout y'all in the next video for real. And y'all let me know what y'all want to see in the next coming videos. That's it for me, man. Like I said, if your head was bobbing or you learned something in this video, go ahead and drop me a like, drop me a subscribe. Let me know, man. But yeah, we'll be back again on Monday. I appreciate y'all boys, man. We out.